Let's take a breath, folks. And again. And you know we do three, so we just do one more for good measure. Did anybody watch the royal wedding yesterday? I did. I watched it twice. And I recorded it so I can watch it again when I go home today. I love pomp and circumstance, so I watched it. I'm sorry. At any rate, this has nothing to do with my talk, but I just wanted to know that anybody watch it. Because I was so excited all week thinking about it coming up, and then I watched it, and then I watched it, and then I watched it a little bit this morning. But at any rate, the thing that really struck me about it was the love. So much love. So much love between the couple, so much love in the message, so much love in the ceremony, so much love everywhere. And I really, really, really liked that so much. And for a moment, you could just get lost in the love and not think about the stuff, you know, all the other stuff that happens. But the thing that caught my ear was that one of the commentators, a couple of them, were talking about the fairy tale. And they were talking about Meghan becoming a princess, and she got the fairy tale, and talking about the love being the fairy tale, and they kept talking about the fairy tale. And I thought, wow, how odd is that they're thinking love is a fairy tale? Love is the only thing that's real. And sometimes we get so far away from it that we think it's a fairy tale, that we think it's not real. And I'm just inviting us all to take a breath and come back to what we know to be true, that love is all there is. And as we talk this month about from the ordinary to the extraordinary, when we remember that love is all there is, when we remember that love conquers all truly, and that love is in the midst of all, then we get to live those extraordinary lives that we seek to live. We have to first remember that love is all around us, and that love is always seeking expression in and through and as us. And so when we can allow ourselves to open up, let go of the fear and let go of the blocks, and just allow the love to just pour out of us, imagine what our lives would be like, but imagine what our world would be like if it just started with me, and it starts with you, and it starts with you. Imagine the ripple effect it would have out into the world. And so I just invite you to remember love, and remember that we don't just get to see it on TV and that it's not a fairy tale, that it is real, and allow that real love to be a part of our experience and our expression on this planet. And that's when we get to see and to be the change that we really want in our lives. So let's take a breath as we move into the love. And you know what? We have that love right here in this community. There's so much love in this community, so much love that we experience, and so much love that we express, and so much love that we share, and so much love that we allow to be expressed in and through and as each of us, as we interact with each other and as we go out into the world with our interactions. How awesome is that? How awesome is that? And you know, so many communities can't say that, but we can say it right here and right now. And this is the example that we want to set, the example of love, of love, of love. My topic today is dance with the storm. I was off on a love kick. I was headed on down that path. My topic today is dance with the storm. Dance with the storm. And the reason this came up for me, I remembered that when I was in seminary in New York City, one of the seminaries that I went to, right after Hurricane Sandy hit the East Coast, one of my classmates lives in New York City, and he lived on the third floor of his apartment building, and he talked about the panic and terror that he felt as the winds got higher and the hurricane hit. And yet the fascination that he felt as he looked out of his window just to see what was going on. And he noticed that some of the trees were just snapping and being blown down. And other trees were bending and bending. As the winds hit, they were bending. And he said he stood there in fascination and watched and realized that the trees that were bending were dancing with the storm. And it became a metaphor to him for his own life. He said the trees that could bend and that could dance with the storm were the trees that survived. But the trees that were rigid and standing straight were the ones that were split in half and that fell. And so he began to think about his own life and how when he dances with the storm, he survives whatever storm there is that comes up in his life. But when he's rigid and resistant, then he gets knocked down, split in half. Think about it for all of us. When we dance with the storm, when we go with the flow. Another of my classmates his name is Andrew Lippa. He's a Broadway producer and music director and composer. And he wrote a song called Dance with the Storm after he heard that story. And just a few of the words that I recall this morning were, if I dance with the storm, I'll be safe in your arms. I can see past tomorrow. I can feel all your love. If I dance with the storm, I'll be safe. I'll be whole. I can run. I can rise. I can face all the nights if I dance with the storm. Breathe that in and think about what it means to you in your life to dance with the storm. What does it mean to dance with the storm? I have 3 B's that go along with dancing with the storm. One is be flexible. Be flexible. Breath. That's a part of flexibility, taking a breath. And the second one is be accepting of where you are. Be accepting of where you are. And the third one is be grateful. Be grateful. But let's just move back to be flexible. We can't dance and be inflexible. It just doesn't work. Being inflexible and dancing doesn't work. Being flexible is also a way of saying resist nothing. Resist nothing. Resist nothing. Sometimes I cut it short and say resist not. Same thing. Resist no thing. Resist nothing. My default position, kind of sort of all my life, has been resistance. Nope, not going to do that. Nope, I don't want to do that. Nope, I don't want to do it that way. Nope, I want to do it my way. Doesn't get me very far. Gets me knocked down a lot. And then when I decide to take a breath and go with the flow, life is so much easier. Because when we're going with the flow, we're going with the storm. We're dancing with the storm. We have to be willing to go with the flow. Follow the path of least resistance. Follow the path of least resistance. That's going with the flow. Following the flow wherever it leads us, wherever it guides us. Because the flow is God itself. We think of God being in the flow. God is the flow. And so when we are dancing with the storm, we're doing what I said last week when I mentioned Hafiz's poem, The God Who Knows Only 4 Words, come dance with me. Come dance with me. Come dance with me. A storm can be kind of scary to dance out sometimes, but as I said again last week, God knows all the steps. All of the steps. And so when we're willing to trust and to surrender our need to control, or our need to know in advance what's going on, or our need to plan everything, or our need to plot it all out, when we can let that go, and just go with the flow, we can move into that place where we can dance with the storm. Take a breath. And you know, all kinds of storms come up. We have names for them. They could be financial issues, they could be relationship issues, they could be health challenges, they can be job challenges, whatever the case may be. Ernest Holmes says, one of my favorite Holmes quotes is that God is always God no matter what our emotional storm or objective situation may be. God is always God. God is always God. Thank God. God is always God. No matter what's going on, God is always God, no matter what our emotional storm or objective situation may be. And so when we can remember that and put our faith and trust in that and go with the flow, dance with the storm, God knows how to do that, how to get us through that storm. We don't have to try to figure it out ourselves. We don't have to try to manage and control it. We don't have to try to make sure it's going to go our way, this way, and be rigid about it. We can release the fear, which is what makes us resist, is fear. We can release the fear, we can take a deep breath, and we can allow God to be God and guide us and direct us through this storm, show us the steps to get through this storm, whatever it is. And storms come and go. Storms come and go, but if we align ourselves with the only thing that's real, if we align ourselves with the all that is, when we align ourselves with the truth of our being, which is that we are one with God, God is always right where we are, right in the midst of whatever our storm may be. When we align ourselves with that, then you know we're always on holy ground. Wherever God is holy ground. God is everywhere present, so wherever I am is holy ground. And wherever there's holy ground, there's solid ground. And when we're standing on solid ground, so what if there's a storm? So what if there's a storm? So what if there's a little turbulence? We may have to fasten our seatbelts. I talk about the spiritual seatbelts all the time. We have to go deeper in our practice. We have to go deeper in our meditation, deeper in our prayer, deeper in our affirmations, deeper in whatever our practice may be. We go deeper in that. Just returning unto God, returning unto the truth that we know. Releasing the need to control and moving into a place of allowing. Releasing the need to make something happen, including having a good day. You hear people say, make it a great day. How? How can you make it a great day? You can allow it to be a great day. You can allow a day to unfold in a great way. And certainly we make plans, and certainly we do certain things that have certain structures in place. And certainly we sort of outline the way we like things to go, and then we take our hands off and we allow. And when we move into that place of allowing, we can experience things we could not even have imagined or planned for. But we can only do that in the flow. We can only do that when we're dancing with the storm. We can only do that when we're willing to release control. We can only do that when we're willing to change. And we got to be willing to change. We want things to get better in our lives, and we don't want to change, which is funny. No, I want to change. I want this, but I don't want to change. I want to be able to do that, but I don't want to, no. I want to lose 30 pounds, but I still want to eat ice cream whenever I want it. At night. Don't want to change that. Don't know why that scale's not moving. Right? Yeah. If nothing changes, nothing changes. If nothing changes, nothing changes. I'm going to say that again. If nothing changes, nothing changes. If something changes, everything changes. If something changes, everything changes. There's a ripple effect. If something changes, everything changes. So when we release our resistance to change, when we release our fear of change, when we release our fear of not knowing how to do it right, or perfect or whatever our issues may be. When we release all that and just go with the flow and follow that path of least resistance, then we're dancing with the storm. And all kinds of doors open for us. And we find that place of safety, that place of solitude, that place of comfort in the storm. We have to trust, we have to release, we have to let go. We have to resist not. Go with the flow. Be in the flow. And you know better than anybody else when you're in the flow. Let's take a breath. The next thing is, the next B is to be accepting of where you are. You know, we can rail against where we are. We can not like it, we can't stand it, all that stuff. But you know what? First, we just got to say, this is where I am. We have to acknowledge, this is where I am. We have to admit, this is where I am. If I'm going from Phoenix to LA, right now I'm in Phoenix. I got to admit that. I got to acknowledge that. I got to accept that. And I don't care how much I rail against it. I don't care how much I intended to be somewhere else. I don't care how much I intended to be in LA by now. I don't care how many times I went around in circles before I got on the right freeway. I don't care what the case may be. I have to accept the fact that I'm in Phoenix before I can ever start to get to LA. Right? You got to accept where you are, and then you can then look toward getting to the next place. But ignoring the fact that I want to go to LA, I'm in Phoenix, I'm going to pretend I'm not. How's that work for getting to LA? You got to accept where you are, acknowledge where you are. Yes, I want to get to LA. Now, let me see what I need to do to get there. Let me see what kind of assistance I need to get there. Let me see what kind of support I may need to get there. Let me see what's the right highway to get on to get there. Let me check in with my inner GPS system to see what steps I need to take, because we have that inner GPS system. We have that inner GPS system that's always open for business, always available, always guiding us, always tapping us on the shoulder saying, turn over there, go that way. Do this. Don't get on that freeway. When we can stop and listen to that, then wherever it is we are, once we recognize that, then we can move on to the next place. And recognize that things are always coming up that we don't necessarily expect. And certainly that we don't necessarily want. But they happen anyway. And whatever names we give them, they happen anyway. And so just taking a breath and recognizing this is where I am. This is where I am right now. When I talk about things happening that we don't necessarily expect, I'm reminded of Rumi and the guest house. The guest house, where Rumi says, this being human is like a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness that arrives as an unexpected visitor. He says, welcome and entertain them all. Even if it's a group of sorrows who violently sweep through your house, emptying it of its furniture, still honor each guest or treat each guest honorably. Treat each guest honorably. He may be cleaning you out for some new delight. Treat each guest that arrives, that unexpected visitor, honorably. It may be cleaning you out for something new, for a new delight. Some dark thought, some shame, some malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. That's what we have to learn to do. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Not resisting, invite them in, accepting this is what's showing up right here, right now. This is what's showing up right here, right now. And then he says, be grateful for all those who showed up. Be grateful for those who showed up. Be grateful for those who show up, for there may be a guide sent from beyond. Be grateful for the guides from beyond that are always showing up for us. Accepting where we are. Yes, this is what showed up at my door this morning, and we all know how that is. Things that we didn't expect. Learning to move into a place of taking a breath and saying, okay, this is what I have today. Now, let me see how God's going to work this one out. Now, let me see how God's going to work this one out. And honestly, that's a phrase I use frequently, because sometimes when things come up, they can be scary, they can be trying to my nerves, they can be overwhelming or seem to be overwhelming. And sometimes I just have to take a step back and say, well, let me just see how God's going to work this out. Because I know I have no clue what to do. I have no clue how to work this out. I have no clue what to do about this. But I know God knows how to do it. And I think that's what we have to learn to do, is take a step back and trust and say, there's that within me, and you don't have to call it God. You can call it higher power, divine intelligence, divine mother, whatever you choose to call it, doesn't matter to God. Whatever you choose to call it, the source of your being. Know that it is that knower within you that knows all things. And that it always has a perfect solution to whatever our issue may be. A perfect solution to whatever our storm may be. Perfect shelter for whatever our storm may be. And so when we can move into a place of knowing that and trusting and being in that place of acceptance, it's a new day, folks. It's a new day in our lives. It's a new day in our experiences. It's a new day in our opportunities to grow and expand and to experience the allness and the fullness of God in our lives always. It's a new day. And so I encourage you to step into that place of knowing. Step into that place of being at one. Step into that place of being at one so that you know wherever you are on holy ground. Wherever you are, you're on solid ground. Wherever you are safe. Wherever you are in the wholeness and fullness of God. And that's what you're experiencing in your life. And then the third B for dancing with the storm is be grateful. Be grateful. Be grateful for the breath that you're about to take. Right now, be grateful. Let's take that breath. Be grateful. Be grateful for everything. Be thankful for everything. Find things to be grateful for. And do you know that, as I talked about gratitude last week, and I was talking about the vibratory patterns that we get into, gratitude being of the highest vibration, then when we get into that vibration, we start to attract things that are a higher vibration also. So when we move into gratitude, we start to attract more and more things to be grateful for. So we keep operating at the place of gratitude, and we find more and more and more to be grateful for, more and more to be thankful for. And we just keep moving in that pattern of being grateful for the opportunity to change. Be grateful for the opportunity to get a do-over. Be grateful for the opportunity to grow from the experiences that we have, from the storms that come into our lives, and for the sunshine that comes into our lives. It's not just storm, but accept them both. Just knowing that one is a storm, one is a sunshine. And it's all God in the middle. It's all God in the midst. The fact may be that there's a storm. The fact may be that there's sunshine. The truth is God is in the midst. The truth is God's in the midst. The fact may be that it's raining. The fact may be that it's snowing. The truth is God is in the midst. The fact is you may have an illness. The fact is you may have a marital problem. The fact is you may lose your job. Truth is God is in the midst. That doesn't change. Facts change. Facts change. Someone asked me after the first service about responding, how to respond when somebody asks you how you're doing. If you know that you're doing great, but you're experiencing a little joy over here, a little depression over there, a little whatever, what do you say when someone says how you're doing? You say, I'm doing great, because that's the truth. You're doing great. I'm doing great. Is my foot hurting? Yes, but I'm doing great. That's a fact. The truth is, I'm doing great. And when we start to look at things that way, look at life that way, what is the truth? Facts change. Truth does not. Facts change. Truth does not. Facts change. Truth does not. And so we always want to anchor ourselves to the truth and be so, so, so grateful for the opportunity to do that. And when we do that, we have more and more things, as I said, to be grateful for, because, we can't experience something that we don't have the consciousness for. So we can't experience more and more things to be grateful for. We don't have the consciousness of gratitude. So we have to constantly be in that place of gratitude. And I was suggesting to the first service this morning that for those of you who keep a gratitude list, and those of you who don't but want to start, instead of writing your gratitude list at night, write it in the morning. Let's take a breath. Nobody's breathing right now. All of a sudden, my chest is tight. Let's breathe. Yeah. Think about this. When you do your morning practice, and there's the assumption in that statement that we all have a morning practice. When we do our spiritual practice in the mornings, let's add to prayer and meditation and chanting or visioning or whatever it is that you do as your practice, affirmations. Start a gratitude list in the morning. As soon as you get up, write down 10 things that you're grateful for. When you do that, you will be surprised how you will walk through the day looking for more things to be grateful for. You'll walk through your day aware, expectant, looking for something so that you can add it to your gratitude list. It really happens that way, folks. If you start doing a gratitude list in the mornings, you become aware of things to be grateful for, and to be gratitude for. So, but you'll be aware of those things. And just think how your life will change if you walk through your life with an air of gratitude, walk through in an aura of gratitude, walk through life with an aura of gratitude, which takes us into that place of possibilities. You start looking around every corner, looking behind every door, looking under every rock. Is there something for me to be grateful for? I got to put this on my list tomorrow. This encounter I'm having with this person right now, I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for this smile I just got from this stranger in the store. I'm grateful for this big thing that someone just did for me. I'm grateful for the opportunity for me to serve or to do something for somebody else. So we start to remember those things, and we start to move into that consciousness. And that's what everything starts with, is consciousness. It's all about consciousness. It's all about consciousness. And when we operate in the consciousness of gratitude, then we're also operating in the consciousness of possibility. We're operating in the consciousness of oneness. We're operating in the consciousness of the all that is. We're operating in the consciousness of the allness and the fullness of God, and knowing that there is no limit at all. There's no limit at all to how we can experience and express life on this plane at this time. We want to move into the consciousness of God, the consciousness of God, the consciousness of oneness, the consciousness of gratitude, the consciousness of going with the flow, the consciousness of dancing with the storm, The consciousness of courage, because it takes courage to do that. The consciousness of God. That's what it all comes back to. And so I invite you to start to dance with the storm, looking at ways you can dance with the storm, looking at ways that you can be flexible, asking yourself, can I be more flexible right here, right now? Looking at ways to accept right where you are, knowing that you're going to move from there, but you got to be here in order to move to there. And being in that consciousness of gratitude, being grateful. This is how we dance with the storm. Be grateful. Be grateful. I am so grateful to be here with all of you. I'm so grateful to be a part of this community. I'm so grateful to be able to assist Reverend Michelle and Reverend Lonnie. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to share this time with all of you, to share my life with all of you. I'm so grateful that we get a chance to do this thing called life together, that we get a chance to open our hearts and open our minds and to fly. Get a chance to fly. If flying is what we want to do. Or you can drive. It's up to you. But we get a chance to do this knowing that we're always being guided, always being directed, always being loved, always being cared for. Because we're always, always in the presence of God. Dance with the storm. And let God show you the steps. Let's take a breath as we just move into prayer now. There's only one power, that is God. There's only one life, that is God. There's only one presence, that is God. There's only one breath, that is God. This onlyness that is God is my very life. This onlyness that is God is the life of each and every one of us here this day. This onlyness that is God is the source of all, changeless, all-powerful, all-knowing, all only. That's God. This onlyness that is God is right here, right now, right where I am and right where each of us is. It is in the midst of everything, everywhere that is going on, for it's everywhere present. And so just knowing this truth now, it is from this place that I speak this word for each of us this day, speaking a word of wholeness. As we go through this time of transformation, as we go through this time of transformation in our community, in our own lives, that transformation is always happening. I'm calling forth this onlyness that is God, and just knowing that we are anchored in that onlyness. And as we are, we can release and let go of fear and doubt and those blocks that we set up. We let go of rigidity, we let go of resistance. And we allow ourselves to be open and receptive to the flow as we move into the flow, knowing that the flow is God. And that contained within that flow is everything we could need or desire. That God shows up as whatever it is we need in each and every moment, in each and every day. So in this flow, there's love, and there's peace, and there's joy, and there's harmony, and there's balance. And there's forgiveness and compassion. All the qualities of God are in the flow. And we get to experience those qualities as we stay in this flow. How good it is to be in this place of oneness. How good it is to be in this place of truth. How good it is to know that this truth is truth always, changeless truth. And that it is working in and through and as our lives always, since before the beginning, and now and forevermore is working in and through our lives. I speak a special word of blessing for Reverend Michelle and Reverend Lonnie this morning, knowing that ease and grace are theirs, that God is in the midst of whatever's happening with them right now, that God is loving them and lifting them up, and there's courage and strength, and whatever they may need is supplied easily and effortlessly. Whatever need we may have is supplied easily and effortlessly. This prayer goes out to anyone on this planet needing a prayer this day, knowing that God is in the midst of every situation and every circumstance, anywhere. God is in the midst of it all. In this circle of prayer, I pause momentarily so that you may speak the names of anyone you'd like held in prayer this day. You may speak their names silently or aloud, but you may speak them now. And so for all those whose names were spoken here this day, I'm knowing that God is right where each of them is, blessing and keeping them. And that all indeed is well. And so I just say thank you, Father, Mother God. Thank you, Infinite Presence. Thank you, Divine Mother. I'll just allow it to be now. And so it is.